All right, my friends. Here we are, episode 21 with the guild leader of Ready, Piglet here. I'm pretty excited about this one, man. This guy, he came in like a wrecking ball, man. Just, out the gate, recruiting a bunch of good players ready to PvP, hit the scene, and now if you go in that PvP channel, I mean, it's like, I'm sorry to whoever this offends, but they can't keep his name out of their mouth. So I'm really excited for this one. But man, Piglet, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I'm from Texas. I'm in tech sales, and yeah, I like to play UO. The guild master already, and yeah, we're primarily a PvP focused guild, but we try to dabble in all the content that Outlands has to offer. So I'm pretty happy so far with the server and with kind of how things have gone with the guild.
Yeah. So it's always kind of a funny thing because a lot of tech or IT people, I think, especially in Ultima more than other games, but I feel like Ultima really brings that whole techie people in here. Maybe it's just the technical side of Ultima versus like World of Warcraft or something. I don't know. But I
Yeah, I
noticed it
think it's
quite a
the
bit.
scripts. I think people like to code their scripts, and I think a lot of programmers and coders that I've talked to actually kind of learned how to code from playing UO as a kid, and so it's cool to see how it really translated into the modern day, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's a guy. I don't think he plays here anymore. Maybe he does, but his name is Bound. He was actually in some a book by Wes Loker or something called Braving Britannia, and it was kind of that he had wrote a script in Ultima Online Retail where he would teleport around, kill spiders and whatnot, and then dump all of his stuff off. It was like completely automated, but it ended up turning him onto scripting, and now he does something with software, and JSONs obviously as well, same thing. So pretty wild. But man, what got you into gaming, and then what were like some of the earlier games that you played?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was born in '87, so whenever I grew up, it was like Nintendo, the Game Boy. I went the PlayStation route early on. Wasn't an Xbox guy, and then my parents were engineers. My dad was into computers, and so we always had a PC. My first couple games were mainly Blizzard, man. So I had a guild for StarCraft, and then Diablo 2, and then yeah, eventually found Ultima just kind of randomly.
Yeah, I think we kind of that's funny. So my father as well was real big into tech. Before the internet, he had a BBS, a bulletin board system, and so people would connect to that, and I would play like Lord, Legend of the Red Dragon, Trade Wars, like those old text-based games on the BBS, and I just thought they were super cool, and we Blizzard. I can remember Warcraft 1, like my mom and him would want to mine every gold mine, chop every tree before they went on to the next mission, and it would just make me mad because I'd be like, just you killed it, just move on. And but anyways, Blizzard was great back in the old days, man.
Yeah, I mean, they had some great titles, that still, I would say, are impactful today, whether it's Diablo, obviously, World of Warcraft, and Dota. So yeah, great franchise. Great balance, too, in the games, right? I think that's something similar to UO, where it does have that balance to it, which is nice, but still the diversity. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you're 100% right, man. I think that's where a lot of games try to find some balance and stuff with diversity, and it's so hard. I mean, you think it's just numbers, and it is until there's like, extra actions or what have you, and then I don't know, man. It gets a little wild, and so for a lot of games, it's a giant flavor of the month, which I guess we kind of got that going on here on the PVM scene with Poison Dexters and Arcane Mages
Right?
right now. But
Yeah.
you know what? It's still, it's still, at least it's doable with anything else. So no one's really fallen short, I guess. But and then
Yeah, it's good to see change, right? So regardless of the change, I think the fact that the devs are willing to come in and try and shake things up and keep things fresh is nice. So the
mhm.
wheel, you know what I mean, in general, for like in terms of the loop of gameplay compared to other UO servers, Outlands is just far and beyond that. But because they're willing to take in the time, which I think is nice.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like we're not just sitting here saying all kill and having our white worm and nightmare do all the work for us like everywhere else and what we've been doing for the last 25 years or whatever. Like there's
Yeah, that's endgame, right? It was like getting your tamer to 100 back in the day. I guess now it's 120, but yeah, way back when,
yeah.
I was only playing on hybrid, so that was kind of my UO experience. Um, but yeah, back in the day, it was just Nightmare and Dragon, pretty much. Maybe a White Worm.
So you started there on hybrid?
No, actually, I started on a server called the Altar Realm. It was
Okay.
Tar. It was like 1200 skill cap. I think my first character was a tank mage with healing. Had no idea what I was doing. It was a buddy of mine in high school. We all played Blizzard games together, and he was saying, "Hey, let's play Ultima. Like, there's this free server." Like, some of my friends were playing EverQuest and kind of paid games, but I just never got into paid games just because I don't know. I felt like asking for a subscription back then was just too much. You know what I mean? Compared to there's so many other games that were free once you bought it. So yeah, UO was completely free for me. I never played OSI or anything like that.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay. Man, I can definitely feel you on the not really knowing what the heck I was doing, man. I don't think I ever even really actively used potions until I played on UO Forever. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was a long time ago, but like on retail, even on hybrid, and I wasn't bad on hybrid. I mean, but I was in EQMS, so we would just run around Earthquake and Meteor Swarm. So like we all sucked. We just knew two spells, and that's like all we ever really did in E-Bolt Rail, obviously. And I just rarely would carry potions because we would just zerg through everything, and it was fun. I remember everybody had Blaze. Blaze was the big clothing. If you had Blaze
Yeah,
or Pure
yeah,
White, you
Blaze
were
and
good.
Ice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The old ice cloth, yeah.
yeah. What's your take on ice? Glacial hues on
Yeah, I
Outlands.
mean, it looks good. I think I like the fact that they've kind of minimized the amount of maybe tacky pixels, I guess,
Yeah,
like as far as description.
yeah.
I think for the most part they've done a really good job with the pixels, man. I've definitely donated some Prev coin for some pixels here and there.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, some of it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here in my powder blush, and that's kind of flamboyant or sticking out, I guess, in terms of the earth tones that they want to try to keep, or like powder bubble gum. And man, I can't remember. There is like this light blue that kind of looks like a glacial one. I don't
Okay.
remember what it is, but it's not like. I don't know. You're right. They've done a pretty good job of not making it over the top. Like, man, you watch retail and they're all like shiny purple, shiny orange, shiny. It's just like I don't know. It's just like a dang tech dubstep concert in there or
Yeah,
something.
some of it's too obnoxious, man.
Yeah, exactly.
UO Forever's like that. If you go over there, basically all the pixels are just super bright, and it's just too much, too loud.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. So where'd the name Piglet come from?
Yeah, so my original UO name I want to say was Trees, but obviously that's been taken here and taken on UO Forever, which is the server I played before coming over to Outlands. And you had to have a unique character. So I ended up going with Arbs instead of Trees because my buddy had came. He was the one that got me to come back, and we planned on playing like clone characters and just having the same name.
Hmm.
He made his tune first, and then I realized that I couldn't take trees, so he ended up taking my name.
Eh,
So yeah, I ended up going with for the Invictus relaunch. If you were aware of that one, is
mhm.
like the hybrid relaunch. I ended up going with Audemars and Piguet on there, and
That's
it's actually a watch brand,
that's great.
so that's where that comes from. Yeah, but
Okay.
I took on Piglet because people started calling me Piglet pretty early on, and sometimes you just got to embrace whatever shit they're throwing at you. So
Yeah,
I just kind of branded it before they could really turn on the heat, I guess.
I'm with it. I'm with it, man. Yeah, yeah. So I'm Pwn Star now. I've been Tila Tequila. I've been Jihad Johnny, Cock
There you
Block.
go.
I mean, like all kinds of different terrible and great names, and it's I don't know. Naming a character is always fun, right? And then you get here or get somewhere, and your main name is gone, and you're like, well, shit. What do I do now? And you sit there and you stare at the screen for like 5 minutes and come up with something.
Yeah, it always takes a while. There's some great names though,
Yeah,
especially on this server. You see some real gems out there, which is
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I always like it. You'll just kind of some will make you just stop in your tracks, and you're like, that guy's name is Penis Shackle. Okay, all right. But
Some go over my head, like in TS, and then someone will actually like call it the way that it's supposed to be pronounced, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
like obviously, right? Like that's obviously what it is. Like my cock's small or something like that.
Yes, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
there was one. Yeah, it was like two people's corpses were right next to each other, and there was a Mike Hawk small, and then there was one that fit perfectly with it. It escapes me right now, but it was like right next to each other, and they fit perfectly, and it was their corpses. It was hilarious. But yeah, sometimes they go over. But what man, what actually got you playing UO? Like, what was the installation, time?
Yeah, I think this was back when it was just Razor. So I played UO, I would say early 2000s, and that was pretty much it. But I like the PvP aspects. I like the fact that there's risk and reward, right? Full loot. I love that. There's no other real game that really has that component
Hmm.
in terms of the risk reward, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And for a guy that mainly likes PvP, you just can't beat it. I don't know. There's something about the simplistic nature of it, while still there's that intricacy to it in terms of kind of justifying a skill level of
agreed.
sorts. So yeah, it's just to me, it's the nostalgic part of it, and I just don't think there's really been a game to take its place um, with what it offers. So yeah, great game.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And like you go out, you die, and it doesn't really cost anything, but it is still, that risk of losing everything on your body, and then the ability to you're out of the game for a little bit, but you can get right back into it. Unfortunately, if you're red, I mean, you're kind of stuck not going to that same area for a while, but you can get right on to the next one, almost instantly, right? And that nonstop, kind of continuous gameplay, and you guys just raided a wilderness boss, like that's fun, like because these people are out there killing the boss, and then you can almost hear them in their comms, even though you're not in their comms, but you can almost hear them saying like, oh shit, Reddy's here, all right, get ready, and then it's like the entire tempo of the game instantly changes, at that point. And I play other games, but you're right, man. It's not you don't get that same feeling at all, man. You just don't. And I think Ultima, as a general game, has just kind of found it, and Outlands is doing a tremendous job, fine tuning and able to capitalize on those emotions, and just the general gameplay without making things stupid. So
Yeah, yeah. No, you summarized it well. I think they did a really good job of modernizing the game a bit in terms of just expanding the loop in terms of the PVM, and then they balanced it out with the PvP because you really have to have PVM as the backbone of a server to survive, right? Like those are the guys that are going to be putting in the time, really building the economy, kind of building the culture of a server.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones that donate more than likely, is my guess. Way more than a PvPer would, I would think, because most PvPers are degenerates. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you gotta protect the PVM. So they did a good job without making it straight trammel.
Yeah.
I think for me, UO Forever was they trammelized a lot of the events. Like,
Didn't they make it where monsters would automatically aggro to you if you were red instead of
yeah, just that. A lot of the events were in guard zone, so you couldn't even go and attack somebody.
Yep.
And yeah, to me, they just kind of lost the spirit of UO. Because you get that dopamine hit, right? Like, even if you watch someone stream and they're on the blue side, when they see a red, like, they start get going, you know what I mean? And then maybe they kill them and they're like, yeah, motherfucker, or whatever it is. It's great on both sides, right?
Yeah.
And then the Discord element, too, I think takes it up a notch in terms of the pressure. Like, if I die, I know. I'm like, all right, give it like 5 seconds. There's going to be a screenshot of me in the channel, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of ats, all the shit talking. I love it, dude. It's great.
It's great, man. I hear you, man. I'll steal something from somebody or gray bait them and kill them. And then somebody will jump into the chat and start talking shit. And I'm just like, come into my lair, my friend. Let's have some fun.
It's like, it makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah. Right? I mean, it's and to me, it's like there's no hard feelings there. I mean, obviously, some people they get like legitimately upset, and throw a fit and whatnot. But I like just talking shit and having fun while I'm doing it. Like, at the end of it, man, I'll pat you on the back and say, hey, good job, but like, I enjoy that shit talking element. I enjoy the fun of it, and yeah, I mean, when somebody gets a kill on me, I like it when they're like boasting about it, or they're, they want to sell my head for 40K or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a pat on the back, really. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Compliment.
Yeah. So were you always into PvP, like even early days of UO for you, or kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I think to really learn UO, you actually have to play it. Like, you have to go be a noob and like go farm a dungeon and kind of figure out the mechanics, right? So I think the first 2 months, like the guys that took me over to that first server, Tar, he was a noob. Like, he didn't know how to PvP. We just kind of learned. There was another guy on that server who's kind of my kind of rival at the time, was Robo, and he was a real big PvPer on Hybrid, if you remember that name. I think he was in like Immortal. But yeah, I was fighting that guy quite a bit. I think one of my best UO stories would be we raided his wedding and we all got jailed, like my entire guild. But we crashed his like UO wedding.
Yes.
It was like a server event. It was awesome, man. Like,
that is good.
Yeah, the GMs came in afterwards, jailed all of us.
Wow.
And then we found out that he went to Hybrid.
Uh-huh.
So we followed him there to like grief these guys over there. And that's when we really learned to like, I think true PvP is that UOR era. In my opinion, that's probably the best PvP, man. So
yeah, so everybody really claims Hybrid is like, older Hybrid. I don't know about the newer one or anything, but like Hybrid were the days of PvP. I mean, is that kind of how it was for you too?
Yeah, I didn't know about like champ spawns, for instance. Like, I took a break from, I went to college, quit UO, came back maybe like 6 months before COVID. I had a shoulder injury, and then my buddy from way back when hit me up, said 2-1 drop. And I was like, no way, man. Like, UO's not around, no way. We went to UO Renaissance, and we were just at the bank being like, hey, we were from Hybrid, we just want a PvP, like, give us free shit so we can macro, whatever. And this guy was like, just go to Forever, man. If like you want UOR kind of similar to Hybrid, just go over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we ended up over there. But yeah, sorry, I don't think I answered your question.
Well, I mean, yeah, sort of. I just know a lot of people were kind of real big at saying like, oh, Hybrid was the best PvP ever, and for me, I I used to want to pretend I was good at PvP, man, and I could Vassort Flam, Court Pour, Court Pour, Court Pour, Court Pour, like the best of them. You know what I mean? But I didn't really ever get it until, honestly, I came over here. I mean, even on UO Forever, again, I would just like hang out with EQMS, and we would just e-bolt rail, and target closest, and that was just what we did. I didn't have any fine tuning of anything. I didn't know how to interrupt. I mean, I just kind of sucked, right? But I could do what I was told, and I was good at following the caller and getting the right target and what have you. But that was about it. But
Well, I think it had good balance, man. And what I mean is, there were a lot of small fights,
mhm.
even in factions. It's nothing like here where there's huge Corpse Creek fights or anything like that. So generally speaking, people would honor like a 2v2. You'd stay on screen, right, during the full dump. Like if you off screened, you're a bitch back then. Like even if you were to like try and come in and punch, which sounds dumb, but back then if you like punch disrupted, like a 2v2 field drop, you're kind of a bitch. At least back then.
Yeah,
This was before, Krios client, Salos, all that shit.
yeah.
But yeah, I like this server more in the sense that I think some of the things they did right was they don't have a closest target.
Hmm.
I think some people agree, disagree with the drag select, but overall, not relying on a closest target, I think cleans up the PvP quite a bit. Because if not, man, you could just run around with like Explo Wand on like one hotkey as a macro and basically insta kill somebody
Yeah,
by just doing closes, which is the stupidest shit. There's no skill in that. But
right.
yeah, some people argue otherwise, but in my opinion, it just dumbs down the game if all you have to do is basically like rail turret somebody.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Without a doubt. Like, I mean, we would just sit there at the end of Brit Bridge, and we would turret. And what I mean is, like, we would all stand on the exact same tile with the bolt loaded, and then just somebody would walk by, and it was just like drop on target, closest target, and they die. You know what I mean? And it was just like, okay. Um, and the same with like exchanging rails. It was just all you do is closest, and as long as you guys are close to each other, somebody on the other team's dying, without a doubt. Maybe two people, but um, yeah. And this, I like the whole cycling through the targets, and you got your caller, and it's like, all right, everybody on Piglet, everybody got to Piglet, okay, 2-1 drop, like that. That's cool because it adds that commanding sense, and then all of a sudden, if me as the caller dies, hopefully we've got somebody in voice that is also decent at calling, and they're ready to go for the if I get targeted down, and I think that right there adds such a huge element of strategy and just how well put together your PvP squad is or isn't, right? Some people are just one trick ponies. They got one caller, and next thing you know, that guy dies, and the whole lines just fall apart, and they can't do shit.
Yeah.
What man? How did you find Outlands? Like, how did you find it? And then, what? I guess really, what's kept you here?
Yeah, I was on Forever for about maybe a year and a half. Had a guild on there called PvP. And all we did was PvP, like that was it. We didn't really PVM at all. A couple of the guys on here played with me over on UO Forever. So King Lyric, for example, Guido, and they were always trying to talk me into coming over here. They were like, Forever sucks, dead server. And they would always leave to go do like a Corpse Creek, and then they'd come back, and we basically would just fight maybe like the same 5 to 10 guys every day on UO Forever, just waiting for fights. So eventually I got talked into coming here. Um, and then yeah, but once I came here, at first I didn't like it, man, just because it's different, right?
Yeah,
Like new map, totally different PvP mechanics. I'm trying to learn rope.
yeah,
Bao's yelling at me because I didn't rope. So yeah, that's how I kind of came over. Was my buddy Toshi and Mugi. They were in PvP. They got talked into coming to Outlands by King Lyric or Guido, one of the two. we ended up going over to Anarchy because Bile had came with, I think, Piguet and with King Lyric just to come fight these guys one night. And so it was supposedly an open invite. This is my side of the story. They're going to say something else, but
Of course, yeah, like all good fights are.
yeah, of course. Like, so King Lyric tells me, like, hey, like, Bile said you guys could come and do a trial. It is what it is. A couple guys go over there. They set up tunes. I go over there. I set up my tune. At the time, they weren't playing. They weren't active. So it was like Codex, Mordo, and Kami. Who Kami's a douche, but it was basically those three guys were the only active ones, and maybe King Lyric. And so for the most part, I think I was doing like town struggles, and we would roach a couple creeks, but that was pretty much it. And then yeah, eventually they had a vote. We didn't make the cut, so we ended up parting ways, and we started ready because we just didn't want to be like guild hoppers and float around.
Yeah,
Because we still were pretty new, so we weren't sure like who we even wanted to kind of roll with. So we just figured, hey, let's just like do our own thing. We'll figure out the mechanics, and then from there, we'll probably try and join like an Evil or an SOF or whomever it is. But yeah, we ended up getting traction. So we started as mainly a TS guild, Roach guild. I remember we'd go into like Rift 3 and convince all these roaches that were doing CCC and DFP to like come in there with us. Some of our first recruits were like Mike Oxmall was one of them. We ended up getting Jewel Squad, Shake, Doom Girl, Wicked Wench, Nobility. Basically just like a lot of town strugglers. And it was rough, man, for a while, just trying to figure out the calling style, sorting out all those bars, because back then it was like 60 plus people in Corpse Creek. You had a bunch of big groups. It was like Bo, Evil, Anarchy, Frog, SOF, maybe Sin Face here and there. So it was a lot more active in terms of the number of groups. And then with the kill feed too back then, it just got spicy real quick. So
yeah,
it was a steep learning curve for sure in the beginning.
There was quite a bit. I know Sin was pretty big into the different PvP events just prior to the expansion, and then of course the whole MMX split and then F split, and here recently, and then now we're just like, I don't even know if they're doing PvP events. I'm sure they are. I'm not as active as I probably should be. And this whole thing takes a little bit of time. I don't know. I should be more active. I'm a bad guildie, sort of. But I wear my Sin shirt, right?
There you go. Yeah, you rock the tag.
That's it. And I help out when I can.
Yeah,
I should say that. Yeah. But anyways, I do remember seeing some of the like really big ones where there was tons of them. What's probably your favorite PvP event on Outlands?
Yeah, I'd say it's changed. Like when I first came, I really liked Town Struggle. That was the first kind of instance match that I've ever seen for a UO server. So it's just a cool new thing, right? Getting to kind of meet a lot of the different PvPers on the server, kind of learning personalities, taking in different call styles, and just kind of learning the mechanics. I think it's probably the best place to start to just kind of learn your individual game for those wanting to PvP. So I'd say that was probably my favorite. Now it's my least favorite. But I'd say now it's either going to be DFP if you can actually get like 4 big groups. It's awesome. The map changes are great. I would say they need to move some of the moon gates, but that's here nor there. DFP is a lot of fun if you have multiple big groups in there, because you're basically just playing Pac-Man and you're all trying to not be the guy in the middle. And sometimes you just got to push right through somebody because you're about to get pinched. So it's fun. Corpse Creek is generally probably the most active right now, so we're probably having the best fights there. It's tough, man. Sometimes the way
mounted combat's so quick, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is, people just pinch you, man. There are some guilds that exclusively are just trying to third party you. so you really can't just go and like trade a bunch of rails like back and forth because more than likely another group's coming in with MS from behind you
Mm-hmm.
to try and wipe you out. So you almost got to do these hidden runs, and it just makes it not as appealing, I guess, if you're wanting to really stand and bang. A lot of times, unless it's a head-to-head match, you're just not going to get that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always liked DFPs, and riffs have always like enticed me, like I look at them and I'm like, that looks fun as hell. And I just haven't really got into them. I'm very surprised they're not as more popular, honestly, because it's just, to me it seems more like exclusive. You know what I mean? Like you got your two buddies. There's three v3, and you've got the environment just like in DFPs, but maybe a little bit more extreme. And I don't know. I'm just surprised that riffs aren't as popular.
It's expensive, man. If you want to be a top rifter, right, you got to have, I want to say, like 5 echoes. I was talking to Ali about it because Ali was really big into riffs. He was really trying to get ready into riffs.
Uh huh.
And they're all right, but man, like, you go in and maybe you just have an Archer Mage echo, right? And then the team you play against, they just echo into like 2 poison Dexers and a mage. And
Oh.
it's terrible, dude. A
So
lot
it
of these
really is
guys.
just rock paper scissors, like knowing the
Yeah,
other team
yeah.
and
You
switching.
want to have the best
Damn.
template to kind of, offset what you're fighting against. And some of these guys, like the top rifters, right? You're looking at guys like Hami. I think Andadu's up there. They're all multiple echoes. Some of them are rocking, Aver bows or whatever it is in there to get that much more of an edge.
Yeah.
So that, and they're just experience, man. You got basically a population of maybe 12 people that are really playing that event sweaty style.
Yeah.
So the team that you're going to face more than likely, because there's low participation, is just a vastly more experienced team that has more resources and is just set up for success, basically. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, hearing it now, it's obvious, right? I mean, the people. It's both a blessing and a curse of playing Ultima. Is like you don't know everybody, but you know everybody. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
like,
yeah, for the most part, yeah.
yeah, and especially then you dwindle it down to the PvP community, which is even smaller, subculture, and then you go into the Rift community, which, like you said, super small. So like, yeah, it makes sense they would know exactly what, and so I guess it does just kind of become a game of cat and mouse and trying to be the cat and have the better echo. That's dang. Okay, well that makes sense then, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's it, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
got to think the arena community is bigger than the Rift community.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I
You
guess
know
you're
what I mean?
you're locked in that basically the same template in the arena community, so that
Yeah,
makes
that
sense. Yeah.
everything's exceptional, so you can't just go and like buy better gear, bring better
Yeah.
gear to it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Does your
man. I mean, you
chain?
can do it on tests if you wanted to learn
Yeah.
and kind of get used to riffs. You could do it on tests, like get a couple buddies, play it on tests. That's fun, man. If you can
Yeah.
get like a nice balanced team, it's a good way to learn positioning, work on your sinks,
Yeah.
get creative with the type of dumps you can do. There are all kinds of drops that you can do in riffs, which is crazy, man. Like the variety.
Yeah.
So it's a fun play style. I think the guys that are super sweaty about it maybe should mix up the teams, and they'd probably see more participation. But
Yeah. I
it is
I
what it
always
is.
like watching when they post some clips or whatever, and then like the door shuts off one person and then he's just like caught with his pants down, and it's like, yep, there's a kill. It's pretty cool looking, but
Yeah, the walls. It's a
yeah.
really dynamic match. I think that's
Yeah.
also why a lot of people prefer DFP. Although it's more slow paced, the variety of spells you can do and the utility
Yeah.
plays a lot more into a DFP than I'd say a CC. See, because it's just too fast on
Yeah.
horse to really be doing that.
What's so what's like an epic win and an epic loss for Reddy? Like, I don't know if it was just some random boss fight or a CCC. I mean, I don't know. Just give us some kind of you know story there.
Yeah, man, I'd say back in the day, maybe like a year ago when we were first coming up, we had a pretty big win against MMX. It was like this comeback win. It was in Palma. I can't really remember too much of it, but this was when we were kind of struggling. I'd say I'll give Slams props, man. They were probably the most consistent DFP guild back when we first started. Um, and yeah, I think we hit like a really good MS or a good chain play, and we were just shit at AoEs for the longest time, bro. That was probably the thing that was really handicapping us the most in terms of trying to pull off a win was we just couldn't land these plays, and we finally got one. And I think Shake also like EQ'd with it, and it was nice, man. And ever since then, there was just this momentum shift. Um, I think the guys just needed to be confident in the fact that they could get an AoE and see the wipe. And that was like the first time where it was like deleted. You know what I mean? Like a huge group of them.
They feel good, don't they? Like you got like eight enemy bars up, and then all of a sudden you guys just throw a perfect, like 12 meteor swarms. Just everybody shoots out like 12 fireballs, and then all of a sudden everybody's dead, and you're like, yeah.
Exactly. It just feels good, man. And there's always this little lag spike too, so you could just see them all die. It's perfect every time. Love it.
Yep. And I think did they already, or are they doing some kind of changes with those?
I guess they had changed it for Corpse Creek to amplify the damage, I want to say. I'm not really sure what changes they're going to make, man. We welcome any change. I just hope they can turn off scripts for PvP events and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whatever change they want to make, man, we're just happy to be playing. We're hoping more people come to the events. So yeah, we're just looking for fights.
So just the PvP events, or would you want it to be done in the world as well? Like turn.
I think if they could figure it out, man. Like, I don't PVM heavy, and I get to our earlier conversation right at the start of this as far as people enjoying the coding aspect. I think that exists a lot. Like, I think more than people probably are aware of, that people do have interest in, like, coding their tune and watching it go. So I think if you were to remove scripts globally, it would cause an issue, man. Now from a gamer perspective, I think that there could be a balance where they could find a quality of life to make a hotkey in game to do some of that, but you're never going to have 100% agreement on where that line is. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So because of that, and because you got to have PVM to keep a server alive, like, I don't think they should touch scripts for PVMers because of that reason, because I think it would have a negative impact on the server population. But for PvP events where it's consensual, for factions, if they could probably change some of the rules, sure. And then maybe for PKs, right? PK shouldn't have scripts. But yeah, I don't know. They'll have to figure it out. I think if they start with PvP events, because it's an instance, everyone's agreeing to be there, kind of figure out from there, all right, like, what hotkeys or what things do we need to add in game for quality of life that makes sense, that don't make you a bot, but still enable you to play the game and incorporate some type of skill to it, is I think what everyone's looking for. There's just not an agreement on what that should be ultimately.
Yeah, no, I feel you. There is some, sometimes it's pretty obvious when somebody's using a script, and it is what it is. I mean, I'll still go round and round with them and have a good time. But, you run up to them, they start with the same, break spell every time, so it's like Magic Arrow Weekend. And then it's like, you kind of off screen a little bit and you come back, and they should already know that you're broken and you're already weakened. But again, Magic Arrow Weekend, and you're like, you go off screen, you come back, Magic Arrow Weekend, and you're like, okay, what is going on here? Like, and it's fine. Again, like I said, I just it is kind of funny how that works out. I like it when in like my clips people will be like, what kind of scripts are you using? And I'm like, I just use hotkeys. And it's kind of, I don't know, like we were talking about earlier. It's almost like a pat on the back of like, no, you're using scripts. I'm like, no, man, I can just heal good. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it feels better when it's manual, man.
Yeah,
I don't get why people are using all these scripts for PvP specifically, like the
sure.
pouch script and some of the shit. And then they want to act like it doesn't help, but it's like if you didn't feel like it helped, you wouldn't have taken the time to set up a script for it, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think marginally, if you add all those things together, like being able to automatically dispel any field, right? Having the rope telly, flagging all with attack, all these things add up to an advantage if
yeah,
your entire team is doing it and the other team isn't doing any of it at
yeah,
some point, right?
yeah.
Drinking a heal pot at X health, like I think that does take away from a skill level part of it.
Yeah, even a pop in a pouch,
Yeah,
because
exactly, man.
it takes me, I've got my left hand over whatever it's doing, on the spell area, and I guess it's dumb on me for not having it closer to that area, but I have to move my hand from the left side of my keyboard over to the right side of my keyboard, and I know that doesn't sound like much, but that's, my brain has to register it. I have to move my hand over there and I have to hit it. That's like a second, Whereas a script, it would just be like paralyzed, boom. Like that definitely adds up, I guess.
Yeah, they don't even lose a tile.
Yeah,
They should be losing at least a tile or two. And if
yeah,
that were the case, then people would be dying more often.
yeah. Well, there's the thing. You can just be like, once you're paralyzed, you have to wait 2 seconds no matter what. I don't know. That'd be a terrible change, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'd be good. Who knows? Either way. Oh man, that's good. So, what? I mean, you said Corpse Creek's pretty much what you guys have been doing most, and I mean, but you guys being PvP focused, you guys like you roll in, you take content, you raid bosses, you guys are PKing. I mean, is it fair to say that you guys have kind of got a pretty big line in both haters and people that are allies with you?
Yeah, I mean the only allies we have is Mega for boating, and I was super reluctant to do that, but got to make the boys happy, man. They wanted a boat, so we ended up going with Mega just because we had some ties over there that people were cool with people, so we
Yeah.
figured why not. But yeah, in terms of the haters, like we're just trying to fight everybody, man.
Yeah.
We do a lot of raids, whether it's wilderness or if we catch somebody in a dungeon, we'll try it. Like we were fighting Path the other day. I forgot whose boss it was. I want to say it was a Nucero Mini, and we took it, man. And then we couldn't get a PVMer down in time to kill off the boss. And they came in with like 30, 40 guys just outside the door, so we were just stuck in there like fuck.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, and yeah, I mean we got a lot. We took out a lot on our way out, but
And
yeah,
most of you guys were red, right?
yeah, we were red, so
Yeah.
it's tough going and doing it in a dungeon. Wilderness is a lot easier. Hopefully they don't change that.
Yeah.
But still, the dungeon ones, I think, if you're able to pull that off, that's a nice move. That's a nice win. Always feels good, especially you get it like a mini token or some shit.
Yep.
Omni raids. We're big into the Omni raids. Those are good fights, man. You get
Yeah.
guilds like Squeezed, DPS, and even like the Andarians group. Just the amount of people they have and just fighting that. And you got to hope that, you spawn in kind of in that loop area up top. You know what I'm talking about? Like in the circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yep.
if you're too far south in any of those maps, you're fucked. You
Mhm.
got to stay in the loop. You got to keep moving because the amount of folks they have
Yeah,
is
that little you're talking about that
wild.
little tunnel area.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to stay up there. Like in all the maps on the north side,
Yep.
it works out so that you could run a circle.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what you have to do. If you overcommit before taking out enough people and try and push south, you'll end up getting cornered, or you'll end up losing your spacing just the way the map's set, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to just basically run in that circle until you either kite drop enough, you get an MS off, whatever it is, and then you can go clean house. But sometimes that never happens, man. So we're just basically one guy's with us farming any minions around us, and we're hoping to get a drop while we're just basically running them in a circle, killing off a couple. It's
Yeah,
fun. It's a good
yeah,
time.
yeah. And I think you're kind of like me in the sense that it's great getting the loot. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's just more about the adrenaline rush and just pulling off things that you probably shouldn't have been able to. Like that's when it's cool. Is like when you're super outnumbered and you get a kill or two or whatever or multiple depending on the scale of the fight, right? And you just dominate people and you are definitely not favorited to win that fight. And that to me is like that's where this game is so much fun. Like that's why I like to just go in places, steal something from some people, and talk crap, and get a big swarm of people chasing me. I don't know. It's the running and then somebody overextending and me to being able to turn around and dump and finish them off is like I don't know. It's fun to me, and it's the same like when I am with the guild and we raid a boss or whatever, and it's like a lot more people than there probably should be, but we're gonna do it anyways, and then you pull it off. It's cool, man.
Yeah, you want to contest, man. That's our main thing. We want to contest everything.
Hmm.
The whole point of this guild, man, is that you can log on at any time. Maybe you took a month off, whatever it is, that you can log on at any time zone, and hopefully have a competent group to play with whatever content that you guys want to throw out there.
Yeah.
That's what we're building towards. Like we're able to do that now kind of individually if we pick a focus, but I want to get to a point where, maybe there's 5 guys doing a PK run, maybe 10 guys in the faction channel, a couple more guys out boating, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we want to build to, but right now, basically, one of us will say, all right, let's go do this, and then if everyone's cool with that, that's what we end up doing. So it's really wherever we can find a fight is
Yeah.
generally where we're going. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though, man. Like where you're at right now, even without the whole like X doing this, X Y doing that, and blah blah blah. But like where you guys are all just kind of hanging out and chilling, like the camaraderie's probably pretty heavy and ready. Is that pretty good to say?
Yeah, I know there are jokes about us being toxic players, but man, we're chill. Like it's all
Yeah.
about really the culture of it. So if you're not a culture fit, we cut you pretty quick, man.
Yeah.
I think UO attracts a lot of different personalities,
Yes, and
a lot of
Outlands even more.
degenerates, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
some UO players are they're like former addicts, whatever it is, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Like everyone, has their own personal life, but in Ready, for the most part, like everyone's got their shit together, and we're just having a good time. Like we have fun. It's casual, but also we're competitive. So during certain moments, right? Like the comms are clear. I think that's probably the difference between us and some other guilds that are maybe a little too casual. We'll actually have clear comms. Not everyone's talking over each other, and like we're trying to win it, but
Yeah.
we're also not super sweaty about it. Like maybe in the moment, but once the match is over, man, we're pretty much just back to making fun of Doom Girl or whatever it is.
No, I can totally respect that, and I get it, man. Like, you want to be competitive, but you also don't want to be dicks to your friends if they mess up. But you guys all know where you messed up and how to fix it for next time. And you can respect that right now we're fighting, and it's probably not a good time to just ramble on. Or I don't know, but I think I kind of feel where you're getting at, man. So I think that's a really good recipe for success, which is, I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious it's working, man. I think especially in a PvP game, in the PvP subculture of a PvP game, I think the more they're mentioning your name is probably means the better you're doing. That's my opinion. I mean, unless it's like because of straight toxic like behavior. You know what I mean? Like, eh, people at the top get mentioned a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, I mean, we've been number one in DFP and CCC the last 2 seasons in a row. We're going
Yeah.
to take it again this season. And then once we take it next year, that'll be a year straight. I don't know what other guild outside of probably Anarchy, I guess, has done that. So that's our aim. I get it. Some people are like, whatever, man, it's a fucking scoreboard. But to me, it's like, that shows you were consistent. You
Yeah.
know, like you were able to consistently play for a whole season. It's like getting a college degree. Does a degree mean much? Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
least it shows that you were able to commit to something and
Yeah.
succeed in it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I view a season is it's an instance. You got to be there. You got to actually PvP regardless of gold ticks or whatever it is, man. You still got to go and fight at some point. And if you can last a whole season, that's 3 months, man.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's respectable. That's saying something. That means that people are wanting to play for one. People actually logged on to play.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that unless they're having a good time. So
Yeah.
I think some of the other guilds that haven't been as consistent or have fallen off, it's because I mean they dissolved as a guild because of something, you know what I mean? Maybe it's
Yeah.
because they weren't winning and then mood sour, people were yelling at each other. You know how PvPers are, so
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of toxicity, and at Ready we don't really have that,
Yeah.
which I think is our differentiator and why we can do it, season after season compared to some of these guys.
Yeah, no, I think it says a lot. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's top guild of DFP or, I mean, mining. One, like, if you set your mind to something and you actually accomplish it and you're, top one of anything, like, that deserves kudos, especially if you've got a whole guild behind said thing, because it's more than just that. It also becomes the whole like creating a good environment. Not just you, but also the people that are in the guild as well. They're all bought in to the same end goal. They're all having a good time with each other, and you're 100% right, man. Like PvP guilds tend to have a lot more toxicity and a lot more drama between them because things get heated and backstabbings happen. I mean, and yeah, a lot of different walks of life in Ultima Online, and I would say especially in PvP guilds. So, that's room for props for sure. So, have there been any? I mean, I get them sometimes, so I'm sure you probably have. But has there ever been any like egregious DMs that you're just like, wow, and it just, it kind of like widens your eyes a little bit or makes you laugh a little bit, like somebody just really upset. I mean, you don't have to mention their name or whatever, but
Yeah, it was Diara, like third shift
Oh,
Diara, man.
I
First
love-
graveyard bash. This guy's just like DMing me,
yeah,
going off, dude. We're not letting him get his points, So,
yeah,
and he just wanted to bandwagon everybody. You know what I mean? I think Sin ended up letting him do it with them, or he paid protection or some shit like a
huh,
year ago, and he was just all over me, dude. And I don't even know this guy. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
maybe see him in town struggle, just expecting a pass, but usually it's somebody like that, honestly, where it's they don't really PvP, at least not the events or maybe not factions or whatever it is, and all of a sudden they just want to do the content for a reward, right? But they're the
yeah,
same people talking shit in PvP chat is what gets me. But sure enough, we'll let them come along, get their points, whatever, get your
yeah,
pixels.
yeah,
But it's just funny. But usually they're the ones that are the most vocal, or the trammy ones. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
ones
yeah.
that are collecting everything, and yeah, they'll get in your DMs for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it definitely they're playing a different game. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they are playing. Okay, this event's going on. These are the rewards. I have to be here, or new achievements come out. Some people are like, I have to be server first achievement on this, and Yeah, man, I've seen some pretty wild, you know, wild things, man. That's great. So, what who would you say is Reddy's biggest rival, both player and guild?
I think it depends on what we're doing, because, like,
Sure.
I don't know, man. Everyone's kind of burnt out on the PvP events. This happens every Graveyard Bash. I hope they get rid of the event. Great event. I mean, they need to fix it up.
Yeah.
Probably make it more like a TS, honestly, next year. But, yeah, for Omnis, I would say Squeeze. Squeeze does well with the
Yeah.
Omni raids, man. They'll come at your Omni. They'll be raiding multiple Omnis, like they're doing theirs and they're raiding two others. And we're
That's
just
awesome.
jumping from one to the next, trying to like
Yeah.
outmaneuver these guys. They're coming with like 20, 40 people, man, because it's like squeeze DPS. So
Yeah.
I give them props. Those are really fun fights. For contested, I would say it's Pack 7N or 7N and whomever they're teaming up with. They're tricky, dude. There's this guy. Maybe you know this guy. He's a backstabber for 7N. I forgot his name. It's like 2 words. But this guy's a stealther, and yeah, you can never find him, man. And he'll do enough damage to the contested boss. He's gotten it a couple times where he'll get the token. We know he's in there. It's like Darkmire, um, Ossuary, and like we're revealing on him, and he's just not showing up, dude. None of us have detect hidden, so
Yeah.
this guy always ends up getting out with his token. Um, so yeah, I'd say those fights. Those are probably our two priorities: is Omni rating and the contested bosses.
Yeah. I
Um,
I tend to like those the like real world fights like that. You know what I mean? I just
yeah,
because they're so unpredictable,
yeah,
and
it's
that for
dynamic.
me is what I like is unpredictability. Like you don't know what's coming around that corner. You know, you
Yeah,
might be
those.
leaving Os Mini or Os Main contested, and you go out the stairs, and suddenly there's like 20 blues just sitting there, and you're like, well, shit. And
It's
that's
great, man. It
yeah,
requires a lot of teamwork, right? A lot of positioning, just a lot of everything, and it's fun. I just like the tactical aspect of it and
yeah,
taking someone's token. And again, like everything should be contested, man. Because if we're not there, these guys basically just have at it for free, depending on what time zone you're in, whether it's GG or PEC, 7N.
yeah,
Then for the longest time, Sin and P, we're just
yeah.
getting these free because Face basically stopped doing it, and once Face and Sin stopped doing it, it just left this void. So I encourage more people to go, man. Those are fun fights.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, so yeah, I remember when you guys kind of first got into the contested scene, and you were like, yeah, we're knocking out a lot of contesteds recently, and I remember vividly prior to you even DMing me that they'd they'd be like, oh, it's contested. Reddy's probably going to be there. Like that was a thing, like Reddy's probably going to be there. And so I think that's really cool. That says a lot. Once again, we were talking about consistency. That even, I don't know, man, that was like 6, 8, 9, I don't know, time's weird. I don't remember it. But, anyways, it's been a while, right? And, you get a lot of props for your recruitment and also just holding players. I'm sure people have left already, but it doesn't seem like you have this crazy turnover of players or whatever. But what's your recruitment strategy?
Honestly, I just DM everybody, man, a new
Yeah.
player, and they're probably thinking this fucking guy and his shitty fucking guild. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Because it's literally just I try to kind of filter out by like returning new player or at
Uh-huh.
least someone that's played UO before. But we'll take on straight noobs, man, because we want to kind of see the game grow. And honestly, a lot of the existing player base, we feel like they're probably a little jaded or whatever it is. A lot of guys are just guild hoppers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't
Yep.
necessarily want those players because there's a reason they're guild hoppers. So sometimes you find a diamond in the rough in the new player channel and they end up being like a really good PvPer, or somebody that likes the PVM, but then they start doing town struggles, and then they're starting to go to contesteds, and then next thing you know, they're doing Corpse Creek. So it's fun to see people evolve, and
Yeah.
a lot of these guys have been PVMing for the longest time and never did any PvP events, man.
Yeah.
Just never either weren't in the guild or like didn't know about it, but definitely didn't have the personnel to go and like do it and make it a fun experience, right?
Mhm.
So the fact that we're able to do that, I think that's why we're able to keep people, is because we kind of introduced them to that scene and got them to a level where I think there's some camaraderie there, because we all kind of came up together. Because like to your point with the contestants, man, we were winning maybe like 10% of the
Sure.
ones we were going to for the longest time, dude.
Yeah,
We
but you were there, and I shit you not, it would be a thing. Like, oh, contested spawn, Ready's probably going to be there. We need to make sure we have PvPers ready. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if I didn't know that you were only winning 10%. I just knew that, okay, Ready's a new guild on the block, and there's somebody that my guild is talking about actively. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool, man. You know, like, and that was when we were like really big in the contested scene and the events and stuff. So shit, man, that's cool.
Yeah, we did the whole come up, man, because we were originally PKing, right? It was like Town Struggles PKing. And then we kind of shifted more to the events once we kind of got bigger and kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, early on we were just PKing, which was miserable. God
Was
bless
it?
the PKs on the servers. Yeah, like
Yeah.
good for them. Like, I mean, we could do it now, where I think the way to do it is you have a small group, maybe like 3, 4 reds max, maybe
Uh-huh.
5 if you want to add like a Dexer, and then 1 or 2 blues that can either tele rope ahead, kind of body block
Scout.
field. Yeah, you shift your loot over to them. You got to have a blue with you that can pass loot, or it's never going to be profitable, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're going down there for a boss specifically, but even that's tricky, man. You got to make sure that you got a clear route. There aren't too many blues in there. You got to
Yeah, because
time it right.
you got one life as a red. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's
you're
so tricky,
dead and
dude.
you're done for 15 minutes. Whereas I love Path, man, but like they die and they just hit the nearest death gate, hit their shelf, and they're back in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like okay,
Yeah,
or
they
less.
overwhelm you. That's how
Yeah,
it's a war of attrition with them, and you're never gonna win that.
yeah,
You're just never gonna win it.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean that was kind of the start, right? So I mean, I would encourage any guild that's trying to get into it, like dip your feet in and just kind of progress your way. But I'd say Contesteds and Omnis should be probably the top tier PvP content. Like
yeah.
I don't know, the events are fun, but factions are shit. They got to change that.
What's your favorite dungeon to do a contested in?
Honestly, I don't even care. I just like
Yeah,
going down there, man. It's
you just see contested and you're like, let's
yeah. I'm just
go.
like, let's do it, because you never know
Yeah.
like how many people you're gonna get. You
Mhm.
never know if it's actually gonna be contested, if it's gonna be multiple groups, like what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out like who's gonna go on PVM, how many PVM should we kind of you know um, apply to that situation. So you're trying to like work out your numbers and your positioning, and I don't know, man, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
just something different because it's unique every time
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to the others. Or even a natty, man. Natties are interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody can tag it. Um, I like it all, man.
What's so at the bottom of like your guild recruitment spam is it says like DM me for a trial. I mean what can a player expect from that?
You
To
know,
join
we're pretty loosey goosey. I'm gonna be honest. There ain't much like.
Is that just the fake professionalism at the end there?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's not Chat GPT either. That was handwritten, baby. I would say like our process is, because we've had spies. We've had a lot of spies.
Yeah.
I get it. Um, so we'll let you in. Basically, you got to do the whole face thing of like doing a video screen capture of your accounts. Then we'll give you roles, perms, and then you just gotta play with us, man. Like, just play with us. Just come in voice, even if you're new. Like, you don't have to talk if you don't want to, but just like hop in voice, get to know people,
Mhm.
and as long as you're not a turd, we're gonna vote you in. After like maybe 2 or 3 weeks will go by, and somebody will say something to me like, "Hey, this guy's been around long enough. Like, we should probably vote on him." And then they become a member, and that's pretty much it, man. We'll kind of randomly go through officers. People will step up, people will step down, just depending on kind of who's doing what. You know, people get busy with the real life or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're still recruiting. So if you guys like PvP, if you just like PVM, boating, whatever it is, you just want some chill folks to play with, come on by, man. But just know that you're gonna have to share your screen because we've had some spies. So
Boating and PvP, man, sounds like a bunch of rich PvPers, right?
we're going for it, man. That's like the last. I'm getting my ass kicked out here.
Yeah.
Bro, they just
Yeah.
keep sinking me. I panic with
Yeah.
my hockeys, my turns.
It's a different
Not great
game,
yet.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
it's it's a completely different game than Outlands. But I mean, I think that's cool.
It's
Like,
cool. They did
yeah,
a nice mini game, man. It's
yeah,
fresh. Like it's nice. I like it.
yeah,
People should
yeah.
try it if they
It
haven't. It's fun.
it's funny because like all my boater friends, they'll hit their balance or whatever, and they're sitting at like 50 million and stuff, and I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, and I haven't. I used to boat all the time, and it was great money. You know what I mean? But I've just kind of fallen out of it completely. You know what, man? Honestly, like this server and stealing and just the amount of people out in the dungeons that you can fuck with. Excuse my language. I get excited and I start dropping f bombs.
Oh, my bad.
But I just it's just so much fun down in those dungeons, just screwing with people, man. And I'm not trying to be toxic or anything, but it is fun just PvPing, getting into terrible, weird scenario or situations that I shouldn't get myself out of, and pulling it off. I don't know. It's just fun. And ever since Red Hand became a thing, and I finally made a thief on this server, I just, man, like any boating. That's when boating for me stopped. But it is what it is. So
I get it. The thief is nice. I don't personally play one. Never played one, but we have like 2 or 3 in the guild, and I'm always asking them to stream it and just watching them do their thing.
yeah.
And they're masterful at it, man. They're just over there swoops, and then they're out of there. It's hilarious.
When
I get the appeal.
they're diverse too, because you can be a PvP thief, whether it's a mage or a melee. You can be a stealth thief. You can, like mine is all about survivability. Dude, I have 40 eval and no med. It's like the world's worst template, but it works. It just with perfect situations, and I don't know. It's fun, man. But
Like Melito, just
yeah,
out there griefing people, dude. Good
yeah.
for him.
Yeah, he's a G, dude. It's great. It's great. What so if you could make a suggestion to Outlands, and they had to do it, right? Blank check, cost it anything, just don't say graphic update. What would it be?
I think it'd be remove scripts from all PvP. If they found a way to do that, and whatever that means to them. But I would love to see a game where the guy talking shit in Discord isn't some bot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was actually them. No speed engine or whatever it's called. Um, yeah, if they could just remove that,
Yeah.
for me that'd be the most impactful. Just because I liked PvP, but overall, man, they've done a great job. Like straight up, it's hard to see any other server get to this level of success because of the way they've expanded everything, and they just keep doing it. They did a great job.
I
Is what it
I
is.
I would agree with you there, man. It's Man, I hope one day another server comes around that tops Outlands because I'm having a great time over here. I can't imagine having any better of a time playing Ultima. You know what I mean? Like, I welcome it, but they really have. I think I think the admins do a good job of listening to the players while not just shooting from the hip and making a change and then like regretting it later or what have you. I'm trying to think if there's ever has been a revert of something or just something where it's overwhelmingly people are pissed about a certain change or whatever. I mean, I know sometimes people get upset about changes, but usually it's like, oh, I spent 20 million on gold links and you guys changed the meta for PVM. It's like, welcome to MMORPGs, man. That happens all the time. Get over it, But um, I think they do a great job, man. I really do. I really do. So
Yeah, they got to keep it fresh with the echoes too, and then when metas change, it gives you a reason to go buy another echo, right? So
there you go.
they want you to progress in that way, unlock all the customizations, and it makes sense. That's why they do it. So
Deco's nice too. I'm enjoying this little campfire in front of us right now. With
yeah,
Santa.
it's not bad, huh?
Santa's a good addition to this spot here.
We keep it light,
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what other games are you excited about coming out, like outside of Ultima?
This is it for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. I'll play some Football Manager here and there, but
Okay.
I'll probably pick up like that new Civilization game. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's out already, but
February, actually. And
February?
the reason I
Okay.
know that is because I saw a trailer for it and I instantly text my father. So, me and my father, he's actually the one who got me playing Ultima way back and whenever. Um, it's funny. So, like, for birthdays and for Christmas, we just trade each other games. Like, he buys me a game, I buy him a game. And I text him right when I saw the trailer for the new Civ game. And I was like, hey, birthday's in December. And this is like 2 months ago, right? I'm like, birthday's in December. And this game doesn't come out till February. But you can pre order it right now on Steam. So if you want to go ahead and get that for my birthday, go for it. And so I got an early birthday that I can't play until February. But it's a good game. Good game. So.
Yeah, Civ's awesome.
Who should be? I like to ask everybody this. Who should be the next guest on the Pwncast?
Hard to say. Maybe that GG guy, whoever the GM of GG is.
General Leo, I think.
Is it Leo?
I don't know. I think so. I could be wrong.
I want to know, like, are they really not calling? Is it just random drops? Like, what's going on there? What's going on with GG? How are they getting these IDOCs, bro? These guys are the masters at IDOCs. They're fun to fight there.
Wait, there's a rumor of them not. They don't call. They just.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of like a joke, right?
Okay.
But because, dude, there's one CC time slot where it's just GG pretty much. Like they're the main big group. Sometimes Bane will be there. I guess Frog. But that's it. It's like the midnight Corpse Creek.
Yeah.
No, it's the 10 o'clock. Sorry, 10 o'clock Central. But these guys will be there with like 20 plus people. And they'll just come in with MS, and you just don't stop seeing MS hit your screen. Wow. So yeah, I don't know if they're calling or what, dude.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter who you click, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just running in, and casting MS, and then reloading MS, and there's like 30 of them, coming in from everywhere. So it's interesting to play against. It's fun.
If it is him, Leo, and and I am thinking the right person, he would actually be pretty good. There was, and I feel like he made a little video of it, but of him back when you could stealth in houses, he would stealth into people's houses and wait for them to, release their shelf, and then he would yoink it, eject, and recall away. And like he made some kind of video of him doing. I think that's him. I could be wrong, but he got a
Yeah,
lot
they
of people.
had. Well, they marked all the runes in Wildlands.
Hmm.
So I guess they marked like a rune like in every tile. Like they would space it out a certain way so that they could hopefully be in a courtyard. And then I guess that's why they changed it so you could have a setting, right, where you could restrict people. Because of that. Because these assholes went and marked like every spot in Wildlands so that they could get inside a courtyard.
I
I
mean,
mean, good on them if they want to be that sweaty. That's next level. But some of their IDOC shenanigans, man. Like
yeah.
they take like that face vendor mall or some shit? I think so, because they like
Um,
saw them on test or something. They saw somebody drop it on test, and then
yes. I had a vendor there actually.
really,
It was like Krish's how, and it's like it was just south of Prevelia, and I remember that he was like, "Hey, so I'm going to be dropping my house, and then I'll put it back up, but you're not going to have your vendor for a day or whatever. Just DM me next week, and we'll get your vendor back." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And then he DMs me, and he's like, "Yeah, I lost the house." It's like, oh no. I mean, like, there's two sides to it, right? So, like, shitty thing to do, man. Like, I can't imagine the like what my stomach would feel if I dropped Pwnhola to put a bigger house and somebody threw a house in there and kept PKing me and like I lost it. You know what I mean? Like, it would suck, right? But at the same time, I also see the other side of like I should have probably prepared a little bit better in whatever form that is, whether it's I set my alarm one morning at 3 a.m., you know what I mean? And do it when nobody's up and not tell a soul. And, I guess I'm kind of glad that they made the change overall because I'm sure most people would quit, but um, I don't know. It's a very controversial topic there, I guess.
that's UO for you.
It is, yes, agreed, 100%,
Like, if
100%.
someone's willing to go through the trouble, man, I think as long as they're not like straight exploiting something,
Yeah,
fuck it, man. Good on them for
yeah,
taking the time to nerd it out and to fucking get that house. Like, props to them. It
yeah.
ain't easy just taking somebody's plot. You got to hold that shit down and reds, blues, everything. They do a really good job. Um, yeah, more people need to come to the IDOCs. Those should be big fights. There was one at Corpse Creek not too long ago. It was inside the creek. I think I saw you there. It was at
So,
night. Do you remember that?
no, that wasn't me. My name gets disguised kit quite a
Ah,
bit.
fuck. Yeah, it was like somewhat recent, but it was
Yeah.
on the northeast side, still in zone, right by that cave.
Uh-huh.
And this was like the biggest fight, man, in the longest time. There's like NC was there with their boating alliance people, and Bane was there, Frog was there, SOF,
So
everybody, man.
so IDOC still
Awesome.
happen? I mean, because I thought that all the loot just went into that IDOC lotto or whatever.
No, I think it's just for the boating, the boathouses.
Okay.
Yeah, boathouses automatically go to the lottery now because I think there was a bug with placing it because people could have like boats over it or some shit. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Huh.
Something was messing it up. So
Interesting.
that's why they did that. To my knowledge, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Hmm. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Piglet, dude, this was better than what I had expected. Not that I expected it to be bad, but I knew it'd be great. But I really enjoyed chatting with you tonight, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and being here and inviting me over to the Ready Guild house. I'm sitting next to some people who have killed me in the past, so that's cool, and they're not murdering me. You're on here, so my book of grudges got you in there. So yeah, man, thank you so much for being here tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, I guess that's it, everybody. Episode 21 with Piglet, Pwn Star Gaming out.
Calvas, mom,